call you Orlanth, by the way? That's right.
There we go.
That's okay.
Or what would you prefer? Well, whatever you want.
Orlanth is okay.
Orlanth. Okay, Orlanth. Got it.
I say Orlanth, but you can
Orlanth.
say however you want.
Orlanth.
And Orlanth, you made some music, right?
Yeah.
Do we
I
have?
make some
Yep.
music?
Can we
sent
play
them
that?
to-
Can we play that today?
We are absolutely going to play that
Hell
today.
yes.
We are absolutely
Hell
going to
yes.
play that. We are now.
I've sent them to Slayer.
We are live on MUME Talk 26. Today we've got special guest with us, Orlanth. Or did I say that right? Orlanth?
That's okay. Yes,
No.
that's correct.
Now I'm second
Hi,
guessing
hi
myself.
everybody.
Are you our first Finnish player on the podcast? I think so. We've had Swedes on.
Yes, I am.
Nice. Got to
We
represent
need a
Finland.
map. We need a map of the world with push pins or something.
Absolutely should. Yeah, with push pins.
All of my favorite bands are from Finland, so I mean that's one day I hope to visit Finland because I feel like I could just walk down the road and every block go in and see a metal show.
Yeah, dude. Orlanth, are you like super into metal? Because that whole area has amazing metal bands.
I listen to some metal music, but not really that much.
Okay. But you do have some musical background, right?
That's right. Yes, I used to still play some guitar and
Okay.
and piano.
Okay, gotcha. A man of culture. I don't play anything anymore, so you're 200% better than me. But anyway, so thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. This means a lot to us. So most notably, Orlanth, you were most recently you were promoted to V plus a couple of weeks ago, or I guess a month or two ago at this point. So
Oh, congratulations!
yeah, huge
Yeah, thank
congrats to Orlanth. How's it been wielding the power of the Valar?
I'm still learning the commands. I got some like 100 new commands. I don't
Nice.
know what they do. So
I haven't woken up with all my characters in Veil yet, so clearly you haven't found the Veil all command yet. So that's good.
no, I haven't used that command yet, but I have unscrambled some passwords.
Okay,
That I can do.
gotcha. How has your job changed from switching from a Maya Shaper to a Valar at all? Is it mostly the same, or?
It's mostly the same. I don't see. Well, of course, I have access to more stuff. Like I can see every account, every character sent, and management board, and that kind of stuff. But well, I don't have any supervisor job at the moment.
Gotcha.
Like involved in building and stuff like that currently. So I'm more like chilling after we finished ABR and opened MUME 9.
Getting some good R&R in
Thursday.
there.
Yeah.
Gorwoke says he can also accidentally connect Nexus to Prancing Pony by accident now. I like how you put accident in there twice, Gorwoke. Is that something that actually happened, or is that just not an accident? We'll see if that actually happened. But we got to start off here at Orlanth with the question that we asked everyone, which is, how did you find MUME, dude? How did you get into this game? Bring us all the way back.
I had a couple of friends who they were playing MUME, and that's how I find it.
Okay. And they just said,
They asked me to play, and I resisted for some time, and then I tried it and got hooked. And here
Did they still
I am.
play? Do they still play? Or they quit a long time ago?
No, they are gone.
Yeah, that's the classic.
Yeah.
That's the classic scenario.
Yeah, that was 2002, 21 years ago when I started
wow.
playing.
wow. Okay, damn. Oh my gosh, dude, you just made me realize that 2002 was 21 years ago. Oh my god, I was like, oh man, so you were like back in the 90s? I'm like, oh, no, you weren't. Wow. Okay, gotcha. Was one of those players that introduced you to the game Gray by any chance? He seems to be behind everybody.
I think most of the stuff I learned from player. I don't know how to say his character name. Yeoma. He's Vala Muddler.
Okay. What's his name?
Yeoma. Yeoma.
O-M-A. Wiz Yoma.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
You play.
Worship the squirrel, hail the prophet, scurrius vulgaris et aeternum.
Yeah.
It doesn't get clearer than that. Okay, that's great. And then you just got so hooked. Like, when did you transition from mortal plane to immortal?
That happened like maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Because I got kids, and I noticed that kids and mortal playing don't fit. They don't fit
That
very
is
well.
true. I'm learning
together.
that lesson myself. That is true. That is true.
How many kids you got?
2 daughters.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Nice.
Mike,
Yeah.
Maybe one day they will grow up and they will play MUME with you.
I highly doubt, but it's possible.
you just gotta have them.
Yeah.
Wow, that was really high pitched there. We got female players on the
Are you
game.
okay? Are you okay, Slay?
I'm struggling today, dude. I'm struggling.
What is going on with you, dude?
All frazzled. But during that time, you've helped contribute in well, actually, so I don't know a lot of your mortal players. Do you feel comfortable sharing your mortals, or is that we'll keep that a secret?
I don't have like famous mortals. I have maybe so many legend characters, almost 40, I think. So I just create a new character and level it up.
And just give it a new.
Then I retire it, and next time I play, I will create a new one.
Okay.
That's so I was kind of casual player. Always.
'cause
I player killed somewhat in the past, but I took a long break, and then I created a new dude and leveled it up, and that's kind of what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
it sounds like you like the process of getting to legend from the sound of it, or is that you just feel like making a new character every time you play Mortal?
I think I like trying different stats and practices and stuff like that. And other reason was I always felt rusty. I used to take long breaks, and then it felt better to create a new character.
It's also just fun having a new paint of skin on, or no new paint of skin, a new coat of paint on. Man, I don't know what is going on today.
I'm gonna send you some of this coffee.
Yeah,
Slay.
I need some of it, man. This is rough. But yeah, no, it's just fun. It's fun having a new, fresh character like this. Like it's got a new, fresh smell about it. It's a good time. So I thoroughly understand that. It sounds like Nuzo in the chat also does as well. But before I forget here, so we're gonna have to hop into this. We're gonna have to change subjects real quick. Player Baka also came out with another newbie guide, and I'm going to share. We're doing this in the beginning this time. We're doing this in the beginning, so I'm going to hop over here into which one's the browser window? That's the wrong browser window. Is it this one? Switching to newbie guide. Here we go. So he has a new browser window here. Or a new browser. Oh my god.
Newbie guide.
He's got a new newbie guide for light sources and seeing. So it talks about the types of visions, the cycles of light, types of rooms, weather vision effects, lighting up a room, types of light you can use, magical light or vision, etc. Anyway, it's a nice in-depth guide if you're having trouble bumping around in MUME and you can't see anything. This is the document you should turn it towards. I'm going to drop the link here in the chat real quick. But yeah, once again, huge shout out to Player Baka for putting this together. Player Endo as well. Same guy. He's been pumping out these newbie guides pretty much every week, which has been fantastic. Please, if you see any newbies in game, be sure to direct them towards his efforts on the wiki, because he's doing a great job over here. So want to give
that dude is a hero.
Yeah,
and I think he should get some cool honorary title in game. Like, he should be able to do change title Ranger Master, or Head Ranger or something, and get some cool little cosmetic benefit in game, I think, because he's working his ass off, and also he's talking to tons of noobs, is what I've heard. He's constantly, really, really just into it. So shout out Baka/Tug. We're big fans of your work here on the pod.
Jahar is saying we give out Ranger badges on Discord now. I didn't know about that, actually.
Oh,
that's pretty cool, though.
That is just crazy. That's just how much content that he has been pumping out the last several weeks, because it's that stuff is really time consuming. Like, it's you have to write something like that. Like,
he's also figured out. He's also so I don't know if you guys have posted anything on the MUME wiki, but it's a bit of the pain in order to make everything look good. And he's figured it out from scratch. He's got the nice dividers in here, making the right, font choices with bolds and everything, making it clean. So yeah, it's a lot more work than just like copy and paste from a Word document. That's not at all how it works. So it's a substantial amount of work.
Oh
yeah. But yeah, huge shout out to Player Baka. Orlanth, if you want to drop him like the Ranger crown or something in game, go for it.
Yeah, sure.
We also had some other news in the Discord that I actually wanted to bring up a little bit, which I thought was super interesting. We've just had so much player involvement, which has been fantastic. Let's see here. It was under clients, I think. Yeah, room graphics. Have you guys been tracking this at all?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
I've seen it. Yeah, I know
have
about
not. What is room graphics?
Well, let me pull.
So they're using the image generation AI to generate graphics using room descriptions.
Oh, okay.
So there's I think it's all in Mudlet. So there's like a new little window or panel in Mudlet that shows the kind of AI generated,
So if it describes a forest with a rowan plant and some berries or something, it shows a picture of something close to that.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so like for instance, we got a picture up on the screen right now where it's you're at Harlan's East Gate, and like your backdrop, your backsplash is the picture that was generated. It's this kind of elven looking gate, and you've got the text of the game overlaid over it. It looks excellent, and it's a very cool thing. But I was just very impressed on not only is the feature really cool, but just how much people are getting involved with this and putting in the work to it. We got Freja over here, Lamia, Jin, MUME.
I think the
Zahara,
initiative, the initiative I think is really awesome. The pictures, like, kind of, for me personally, they kind of immediately jarred with my imagination a little bit, which is nothing against the efforts at all. I mean, I think it's really impressive, the work they're doing, but it's sort of like areas like, Road to Grey Havens or something where I've been playing for 25 years, and I've got like a lot of kind of like imaginative context built up in my brain. It kind of like challenged that a little bit, but I think it's awesome to just that level of creativity and just going 0 to 1, just bootstrapping something like that is really impressive.
Yeah, I personally thought it was really cool. But I just wanted to highlight some of the stuff here where we've got a ton of community involvement here on the Discord with people coming up with ideas for clients and working on stuff for Mudlet. And I'm trying to find it right now, but there's the MUME artwork channel, which is also really cool, where they've been coming up with various like emblems and just art that we could incorporate into MUME, which I thought was amazing. So shout out to community involvement. That's what we're all about here. So Orlanth, have you guys considered any like in-game ways, any new in-game ways of getting more people involved in like creation of the game? Obviously, we've got the builder program, but kind of given the kind of upswing and the momentum we've got going on right now, and people pouring out all this great content, have you guys thought of any ways that we could incorporate this into the game?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware of such, but there is, of course, what Mike is doing. You can contribute to Mapper, and then you can do stuff in Discord, like Natscom has done. But I don't know what else there is.
But Orlanth, you told us. I mean, of course, you have kids. That changes your mortal career. But what, were you intrigued about building? Were you passionate about building? Were you passionate about coding? What sort of passion or motivations did you have when it came to kind of starting to go down that path? And did you just love? Did you just love building and the zones? Did you just love the creativity? Tell us about kind of because you've now achieved quite a high rank in the building, immortal scene. Just tell us about that journey and what motivated you, or what were kind of early magic moments, or what got you going there?
Yeah, that's a good question. At first I wasn't so interested, but later on I actually I was mapping Old Forest Road area. The Mirkwood.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, a very tough mapping challenge. Yeah.
Yes, and that was very fun. I found that I liked that a lot, and I kind of was grateful for the people, the earlier builders, what they have done, because it's a big commitment and job to do.
It makes you appreciate the amazing effort.
Yeah. I appreciate the effort, and I wanted to give something back for the game. That was one thing. Then other side is it's also social. I can be social in the game, and I got to know the people in the management and all the builders, and that was also a positive side. And we also played Mortals from time to time in Ainur groups. So that's also nice thing. We still play sometimes, create new dudes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you play every once in a while with the other gods as well, right?
Yeah, we play with other gods.
Mm-hmm. Does that happen often, or?
Time to time.
Gotcha.
We may take. There may be months of time we don't play. Then we can play again.
Gotcha. Rogan says, "Want to know what the gods play? Just check what was recently buffed."
That's true, and apparently it must have been evil players. Apparently the gods had some bad interaction with evil players, because evil players got nerfed like crazy.
So your most recent project, though, you said was so you had fun exploring old Forest Road. But your most recent project, you were the supervisor for ABR, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. Could you walk us through some of the, from a V plus standpoint of some, was this, well, first of all, this wasn't your first supervisor project, was it? Or was it?
I was co-supervising with Rogon earlier in Dole Culture environment.
Okay. So you already got your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you walk us through some of the steps of how you kind of supervised the zone? Like, what were the steps involved with kind of getting the whole thing off the ground? And B, kind of some of your thoughts when you were trying to create the zone? Like, what were your goals when creating ABR?
Well, it was a rebuild,
Mm-hmm.
like my earlier project. Also, actually my first zone was rebuilt too. So that's a bit of different situation than when you write a zone from scratch. Sometimes it's easier to do the whole zone from scratch than rebuild. But so it was the original project was started like 20 years ago. It's very old, and it was halted. And I think it was Ihara who approached me. He said that, do I want to supervise ABR?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, let's try. Let's see what happens. And well, the first steps are, of course, thinking of some kind of storyline for the super zone, and you got to know how the zones connect and what kind of mobs are there loading, and the general map. You got to know the map, and create the ASCII map so builders know what to do. And yeah, so we got some direction from Fror. One was that no spirit mobs.
No spirit mobs. You guys just hate
Yeah,
wraiths now?
yeah. So those there were lots of spirit mobs in the old ABR,
Mm-hmm.
and we replaced them with animals and orcs and that kind of other mobs. The whole project is kind of, it evolved during building. In the beginning there was no that so big goblin caves like we ended up having.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was good idea.
So oftentimes with these projects, it sounds like they're even big sections can be added in fairly later into the stage, or fairly late in development.
In the beginning there were some caves, but we extended them, and then someone said, what if we built them through the whole area?
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up connecting them with to the Grand Matrol.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
but
it's
how
such a
does
cool idea.
It is a really cool idea. How does, I'm curious. So I mean, I work in software for a job or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's so there's always like you're never finished. You never do all you want to do. Everything is trade off. Everything is compromise. It's always just like, oh, it's always like, what's the one thing we can do right now? How can we get this done quickly? What can we do, kind of thing. But like, how do you, as supervisor, how do you sort of define what success looks like? Like, keep track, like make the decision, like, oh, we're here, we're there, we're done, we're finished. Then a big idea comes in, like, oh, let's change it. Do you make that the decision, and like, are there like morale implications? People are like, oh, I thought we were finished. I'm sick of it. Like, how do you sort of like, as the captain, as the leader, as the owner, how do you sort of like uh know when? How do you know when good enough is good enough, so to speak?
That's a good question. Uh, I think if we add more rooms, it depends because there is no deadline usually. But if there is deadline, then you got to know when to stop adding rooms. So yeah,
It probably is the advantage of the way MUME development works as opposed to, uh, like you were saying, Mike, with, when you're a software company or something, you have deadlines you have to meet. Shareholders want to see features added because new features over bug fixes because that's what drives profitability. But with MUME, they can just kind of, I think they can just kind of hit the release button when it's ready. They don't have to really answer to anyone to say like, oh, you have to get it done by this date. I don't know. That's been my
Right.
perception of it.
Yeah, how do you motivate people? Do people just get sick of it? Like, do people just like burn out and be like, I'm tired of working on this kind of thing? Or like, what's sort of like the cadence, like the pace, the motivation culture
uh,
that you manage?
I I think it's not good to rush with building.
Hmm.
You you have to. I think it's better if you build it slowly. Like
Right.
let's say one room, you desk one room in day, or three rooms. Rooms is very good speed. But if you try to desk the whole zone very quickly, you will burn out eventually. That will happen. So that's why normal zone is grid is 100 rooms. And then you can have up to, I don't know, 150 is quite normal number of rooms in a zone. Then if you desk one room every day, that's 150 days. It's not that long period of time if we think about how how long it takes to open areas in MUME.
Yeah, honestly, like when you put it that way, yeah, like let's say you did 3 desks a day, that's what, like 50 days, a little over, let's say 2 months, 2 months, and then you've got another 2 months or 3 months to fine tune and put in all your mobs and everything like that. Like that's actually, yeah, you're looking at a 6 month cycle right there, which is very doable. That's pretty short in terms of MUME development.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that's why I think it's not good to rush. It's more like Yahara said, it's a marathon run, not a
so when you
sprint.
so when you're building, and supervising and directing, do you create the layout initially? Maybe drop a name or a note in the room, say this room should contain this room should contain this, or do you just kind of incrementally build like a room and then connect it to the next and connect as you go? Like, do you create the layout and then fill in the descriptions and the names, or do you just create the rooms one at a time as you write the descriptions?
Do you mean if I am personally building?
Yeah, or if you're personally building, or what seems to be the trend, because I've kind of seen both methods done on different different muds. Like some people they'll map the entire layout of a zone. Like they'll create all the rooms and link them all together, and they'll just be empty rooms. They'll be blank rooms, but you can move in between them, and then you just add descriptions as you go. and then some people they just create the first room and then they add another room and link it and add the description for that and so on one at a time.
Yeah, yeah. Usually builders connect the rooms, every room, even if they won't desk anything, they will connect it.
So they usually create the layout with empty
Yes,
rooms and then
yes,
they add that in later.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will also connect the rooms in the beginning, so I know the layout. I can walk there if I want, and after after that, I will think of a name for the room. That's the first step. Then I will create the room desk from the room name. It will kind of be an inspiration for the room desk. It's the room desk doesn't have to be. It's not very long. It's like, I don't know, 3 sentences,
Yeah.
4 sentences. Yeah, it's quite quick to write, even for me.
So I've noticed with the more recent zones that the descriptions are of course all unique, but I've also noticed that I think all the room names for the last several new zones have been unique, at least the ones that I've seen. So is there when you're creating the room, do you actually search? I'm assuming you have a command to search for rooms by name. Do you actually do that first to make sure there's no existing room with that name, or is there?
Yes,
I was just noticing they were all unique, and I was thinking that was pretty great, especially for something like Mapper that needs to sync to rooms, and also just so you're not just seeing a field of lots of rooms called rolling plains or something.
Go ahead.
yes. There is such command. So I can check if there is lots of rooms with the same name and such. I don't know if the builders check that too much. But yeah, that's possible.
So when it comes to ABR, Jahara was going to ask, or wanted me to ask him about 2022 and the huge slowdown. Do you know what he's referring to there?
Oh, let me think.
I think he's just referring to in terms of the building pace. He says we had a lower player base, and that also reflected with the God base after COVID. Is that one of the reasons that, like, kind of going along with what Mike was saying earlier about how do you keep people motivated? How do you keep the pressure on? Was that one of those areas where it was difficult to keep the gears turning, the wheels turning?
It's quite usual that builder quits during the project, then we have to find a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think it may be even 50% of the builders drop out during a building process.
50%. Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That will make the whole process much longer, of course.
In terms of the outcome of the build, with what you guys were trying to achieve with ABR / what ended up happening, how do you square those two? Like, do you think that the zone has accomplished most of your goal? Are you happy with the way that quests have worked out with the mob difficulty? What are some of your thoughts on how it went?
Yeah, it's mostly I'm pretty happy about it.
Okay.
The goblin caves were not supposed to be super difficult. They are like when we were building, I was thinking like hero characters, it's not Moria difficulty. And then I wanted to try something like more dynamic content for the ABR, and I used the camp, the switching camp for that. When you switch the side, it also reflects to the mob stat load on the road and some other rooms.
Yeah, it's a nice touch too. It's sort of, it has like a zone wide or a broad impact. I noticed that. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, that was one of my ideas that I wanted to try there, and then the original build, or actually it was rebuilt. It was very open. It was like all open areas, fields, and all open fields, like Dunland, you know. And we added lots of like walls, or so you can't walk through the zone that easily.
Yeah, you added some choke points, basically.
Yeah, choke points.
I actually still feel. I mean, yeah, there's narrow choke points, but I feel mobility wise, I think getting through the zone is significantly easier now than it used to be, in my opinion. I feel like the terrain is much, it's, whereas the old zone was all hill and mountain terrain. There's a lot more kind of field terrain, and you've got yes, there's choke points, but there's multiple paths through the zone. Whereas old ABR, if I recall, had like at least one or two true choke points. Actually, more than that. Now that I think about it, where you had to go through hedge and thorns. There was a couple other, like Sesame. You had to go through a couple of like there was no way around it really, unless you swam maybe. But so I actually feel it's much more mobile and much safer. Is that you think that's fair assessment, or?
Yeah, compared to old APR, it's you have more pathways to walk through.
Right.
You can take the Goblin Caves, walk through that, and in the grid zones you have also multiple paths.
Was that conscious? Were you guys like, we want to make it more mobile and more fluid? Like, was that a conscious choice that you guys made, or you made, or?
It was more choked at one point, but we opened it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if you can answer this question, so it's okay if you can't. Yeah, but I'm curious because I think when the day the MUME 9 released, Rogon was like, "Oh, every single thing we do, every zone, we always think about PK and every single thing we do." But to be honest, like I think the new ABR is fantastic from a. I think you guys did an incredible job from a PvP, from an XP standpoint. Like you said, hero I think is really nice. Like it's like a whole new dimension of the game of where to XP as a hero, which I think is really fun. But I personally don't see a lot of PK emphasis, which is totally okay. But I'm curious, do you agree with that, or do you strongly disagree, or do you have any comments you can share about what you were thinking in terms of PK as you architected the zone? Or and I understand if you can't share too much, totally.
No, we can talk about it. It's PK. It's something we have to always think about when we build a zone. So what we have there is pickable doors. That's one thing.
Right. That is one. Yes. There's mostly one roomers though. I think it's mostly one room pickables. But yes, there's several pickable doors, which is nice. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Then we kept some like Sesame thing area there with the delayed door.
Yep.
That we have. Then we added like not real safe areas for any side, like the Dunadan outpost in LSR zone.
Yep.
That's you so you can walk there freely. It's not real safe place, but you can rest there for a while if you want. But still, you can be attacked there. That's one of the thoughts was that it's not safe for anyone.
Yeah, I think the way you put it is you wanted the illusion of safety without the actual safety.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I
yeah.
mean, DG,
Yeah.
the Morgandale encampment in DG is like that. You can still, I mean, I've a couple times I've run to Morgandale encampment in DG, and then my whoever's chasing me still comes in and kills me even while I'm inside the encampment. So, that totally
I
happens.
actually built that camp.
Oh, nice. Oh, there we go. There we go. But here's one. So here's actually, and I'll ask you. I don't know, Slay. I don't know how comfortable you are talking about your zone yet. I know there's all kinds of rules, but so if you can't answer it, whatever. But here's one thing for both you guys. One thing that intrigues me is something which I feel really, really, really drives a lot of PK is one-way exits into some sort of closable or blockable or controllable little area, right? Old White being a big, kind of the classic example of that. But it's funny. I feel like there has not been. I mean, I can only think of like one or two one-way exits in all of the ABR rebuild, and the one I can think of, Slay, is underneath Dunedin encampment into the little like mining cave kind of thing. But that's the only, like, I feel like there's just in some places in the DG forests, there's like one ways into the forest, but you're not like in a little enclosed 2 or 3 room, or it's just into the forest or whatever, right? But it's just curious to me that the that one way exit on Old White, and there's a couple other key one ways, but that one way exit drives just so much PK at Old White, and has for like 30 years now. But I feel like there's just never ever any new one way exits into a small enclosed space. Like I can't think of the last one that was added anywhere. Is that intentional, or I'm just curious, like, because it drives so much PK. I'm curious, like, why not just throw in a couple one ways into like an old barn or something so people can, commit to fighting or something. Any thoughts on that, you guys?
Orlanth, if you want to take it for right now.
Oh, one ways of, I don't know. They have to make sense somehow to me. Why is it one way? If there is good reason for it, then why not one way? One ways are fine. We do have some one ways also in the new ABR, but not so small closable areas.
Right.
I think the Old White is actually it's weird layout. I wouldn't never build it like that.
And that's interesting. That is something when I talk to, it's interesting. And you guys, you and Rogan, like guys who have the skill and the vision to be like, here's 8 zones, here's what we're gonna do, that kind of thing. Which is very impressive. You guys, the impression I get from you is a really strong commitment to like it making sense in the lore. Like it has to be it has to be rational. There you go. That's a good word. It has to be logical and rational in the world of how it all fits and how it all kind of makes sense. And of course, that's a good position. Of course, I'm not going to argue with that. But I just feel like there's examples of things that are kind of irrational, but they make a lot of fun gameplay happen, right? Like, yeah, Old White makes no sense at all. It's completely ludicrous from a structural, architectural standpoint. But it's fun. Like a bunch of PK happens there, a bunch of fights, right? So, I mean, do you guys think it's possible that we're kind of moving in a direction where we're so committed to rational realism that we don't do as much in terms of like just like wacky fun stuff, or like Lich. Lich is another good example of a little area that just like is kind of nonsense, and I don't really understand it how it makes sense, but like it's still fun to fight there, kind of. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think there was so I remember having this conversation with a couple of the gods. I don't remember exactly who it was. I think it was Orlanth and Rogan, and so we were having this discussion at one point because we were rebuilding the tunnels under the Dunedain were some of the last to get finished, and there was some talk about the one ways there. And I think a large part of it comes down to like differing philosophies on how to PK, because there's a bunch of different ways that people PK, and for a lot of people, their thought process is, okay, well, if you put a one way in there and there's nothing in there worth going in there for, like you would never actually, like they're saying that you would never enter it necessarily, you know, and so it would end up just being a dead area. So there's just there's some differing philosophies, I would say, in terms of what makes a good PK area. I guess would be the easiest way.
I get it. But I get it. But I guess so. Hear me out. Now so I apologize. I'm kind of verging off into a hot take territory. So I'll stop quickly. I promise. Right. But there's a feature in sewers has some one ways, and there's a feature in sewers like that staircase that's like northeast from Master Assassin, right? Where like depending on how much weight is up the staircase, like you fall down, and it doesn't really make a ton of sense because you fall down, but then the stairs are still there.
Yeah.
So the stairs out. It's like okay, it's like it doesn't really make sense or whatever, right? But I always thought, man, they could take something like that and you could make a room that limits the number of players in. So you could have like a platform in the trees, or you could have an attic in a barn that only allowed up to 4 players in, or something like that. And then if too many players came in, the attic collapsed. And so that way you could kind of be like, hey, you want to do, you kind of offer a 2v2 fight. And, let's say it's me and you, Slaya. We spam up into that attic and we're like, come on, come fight us.
Yeah.
And if they overkill, if they bring 3, the attic collapses and we all leave. But if they bring 2, we can fight, right? And I mean, again, so it's like kind of a little miniature way of tweaking the world to just kind of facilitate a certain style of kind of negotiated PK, which is probably heretical. Probably I'll get my account deleted for even suggesting that. But I just feel like just like little things like that, which I understand they don't like quote unquote make sense or are rational in terms of the strict concept of the world that we're going for, but I just feel like it would add a lot of little fun. I don't know. Am I just crazy? What do you guys think?
Well, that's already doable, the waiting, and I have added such. It's a library actually that you add to the room. When enough people enter the room, it will collapse and you will fall down to the assigned room.
Okay, well, maybe we just need to add that into the next zone that's released.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
I keep going back as I do more and more research on the history of MUME. It's clear that PK has not evolved like in over 20 years, right? And I think there's so many. I mean, the people like yourself, Orlanth, the people who are working on MUME. It's such an impressive group of people with a big skill set. I mean, if you wanted to start a software company and get the same number and quality of coders that we have on MUME, it would be extremely difficult. Like we have so many talented, creative people working on MUME. I just think I'm constantly trying to think of ways how could we like capture PK a little bit. But without, I know a lot of things are taboo. I know a lot of things are no idea. I know we can't do a bunch of stuff, but I'm just trying to think of like little creative ways with the world or with skills or doors or whatever to facilitate a bunch of PK. I don't know. I'm just bullshitting, I guess.
And there are existing rooms that they might have a number of people, a total character limit, or they might do damage based on. So, for example, there's a room near what was it? Ice Store or not, Ice Wall in Moria, right?
Yep.
That you go if you have a big enough group and you go to that. I've hit that room with a big group. I didn't know about it until I hit it with a big group while looking for Bulag, and half the group died. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. And it's like none of us actually knew that was there.
Right.
And it's like, well, we do now. And because I think it is based on either the total weight or something. Like we weren't fighting. It's just, and dense dodge. I think it came into play because I got a message about like dodging out of the way of the collapsing ceiling or something.
Right.
But
It's like a dex or agility thing.
Yeah, there's that. There's things like how do you say Mezagor or whatever, like where you have to pile up corpses, armory,
Right.
to get to the door. There's like, as you said, Master Assassin staircase. There's White Captain staircase. There's a bunch of these examples of things, and you have the example of rooms that have a certain a total limit of how many people can be in the room, like Ghostly Captain. So I mean, you could probably combine the two,
right,
and makes for some interesting fighting style.
So fighting styles, but also what you're getting at here is like ways of playing with the environment, not just playing in the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all our talented people like Orlanth here have written tons of that code already. Mm-hmm. Right? There are tons of rooms that have all these features throughout, but they're just so obscure they don't really factor into PK. It's impossible to get a fight out there. So I don't know, but
as long as we're throwing crazy ideas out here, I actually had this one idea which people did not like, by the way. But I think it'd be cool if you had more unique areas to certain classes or skills, just so you create some interesting fights. Like I had this idea where you have basically you have this mountaintop, and the only way to get on the mountaintop is you have to teleport to it. And there's gonna be some treasure up there or something like that. But basically the idea is that you can't leave or get there without teleport, and it ends up in like these mage battles. And that way you kind of facilitate a BN versus an elf kind of scenarios. But kind of getting into what you were saying earlier, where you're facilitating types of
kind of
battles.
Negotiate. Yeah.
Anyway,
you could have portal. Anyway, you can tell. I mean, you could portal to that same room and have knockout brawls with.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we do that. I'm just. I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of facilitating types of battles. I think that's it's a good thing.
But so Orlanth, thank you for letting me ramble there, Fal. But so Orlanth, what next big thing do you want to do in MUME? I know you said you were chilling and relaxing for a little bit. Are you motivated to go do another big super zone build out? What is sort of what are you excited about doing on the horizon?
I'm still waiting what to do next time. I'm thinking about it. There are already a couple of projects that have started, and I'm not very actively part of those projects currently. Mm. I'm there in the background, kind of.
Just putting people in veil.
But are you stoked about are you motivated to build a bunch more, expand east or expand south, or are you motivated by working on new skills, new classes kind of thing? Or what interests you, right? Because we've had Rogon, clearly he just loves to build and he just wants to build forever. I'm curious, what is your sort of disposition, or what are you interested in as a builder, as an architect?
Yeah, I'm interested in the skills, yes, and
ooh, yes.
I think we should do something for the broken skills, and
yes,
there are thoughts, but it will take time.
Revamp detect evil.
Yeah, I don't know what will happen, but yeah, I love the sub races and that kind of stuff, new races, and
I seem to
I'm I'm
recall.
also I'm also I like building also, but I have done quite a lot in the past
And
in that
you have to
area.
work with builders. It's the worst. It's the worst. So
Yeah, like Peter here.
this is the fucking worst.
I seem to recall Peter here had a character with charge. I think it actually was Slay, wasn't it, that had charge for a while?
Yeah.
just as like a role play kind of thing. And I always thought it would be fun to. I think charge would be a fun skill to actually have utilized, because it would be kind of cool to have something where you have to be mounted and you could kind of have this, actually do damage while wielding a lance.
I feel like
It'd be kind of cool.
I feel like talking about revamping charge is kind of like talking about the scout changes, where everyone just immediately like throws their hands up in the air and starts getting angry and like, let me tell you what's wrong with that. You know?
We should have a soundboard on the podcast. You know how like Radio Shack DJs have like wah, 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 wah. We should get something like that.
That'd be pretty funny. Yeah. I'm totally
charm. You want to talk about charm?
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
Hot take.
I'll just have one of those sound buttons you can program. You just hit the button and it just says.
Exactly.
Well, hey, while we're on the topic of sound, though, one of Orlanth's hidden talents, which I don't think anyone else in the game has seen except for a couple folks, is that Orlanth actually, you made like a kind of a soundtrack for MUME, more or less, which we would love to kind of play a few tracks here on the podcast, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it's like work in progress.
I'm really excited about this. Actually, before we play it,
ready,
are you like do you make these like on a computer? How do you make these? Tell us your process. Tell us about it.
Yes, on computer I have also some synthesizers that I've used for like sound effects. Okay. But mostly it's computer sequencer program, and I've bought some sample libraries that I can use for composing. And
that's awesome, man. You know what I'm gonna do? So Nick actually turned me on to this. I did not realize GMCP it's not revealed in the text of the game, but the GMCP protocol, it reveals what zone you're in. So like when you go into the breeze zone, it gives you some zone. I think it's called area, some zone identifier.
Area. So, it's not the zone. Me and Jahara had a little bit of a talk about that. It's not. And I actually have I can give you a list of at least. I mean, it might be slightly different now that there are new zones, but back when I was playing, there's maybe 20 or something possible values. But yeah, it's the area. So it'll be like Breelands or Grey Havens.
Oh, okay. So I have to figure it out. Yeah, but I want to do it to where like when you seek into Rivendell, it starts playing Rivendell ambiance. I can do it.
No, you can totally do that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That sounds it's like Super Zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But okay, let's hear it. I'm so excited. I've Peter's played some of it. It sounds great, man. It's really good. So
in order for you guys to hear it, I think you'll have to listen to the stream. In order for it to pipe over. So if you guys want to open up the stream here, let's get the first one up here. This one I believe is called the MUME theme, which let me put it up on screen here. Text MUME theme. MUME theme. There we go. Nice. That's the name of it here. So we're gonna listen to it real quick. All right, here we go. This is great. Can you imagine popping into Tower Hills and hearing this?
It's awesome, dude. It sounds great.
All right, we're gonna pause it there, but yeah, that man, like as a newbie, like how immersive would that be? Just to like, just Gorwoke in the chat. I could fap to this. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so immersive.
No, it definitely it like the really great video game music has this immersive quality where you could just listen to it forever, kind of thing, and that I feel like that has it.
And you've got some sound effects in here too. So you got one here called Heal. Let's listen to this. I'm gonna update this. This one's called Heal. Let's see what this sounds like here. Okay. All right. That sounds like a heal right there. We've got Battle Scene 1. Let's try this. Damn. I don't know if you guys could hear that one, but man, I would.
It's great. Hell yeah, I'm ready to bang.
Imagine being in Moria and you're hearing that. That would be so much more intense.
I'm ready to bash heads, dude.
Balrog's happening.
I'm spamming my bash hotkey right now.
Oh, we actually have we've got a Moria themed one here, so we got to listen to this one, and then we can move on. But all right, listen, Moria. Okay, so it's more like ambiance drums in the background. Ooh, they're getting louder and faster.
We can't hear this one, dude.
Oh, is it too quiet?
That's too quiet.
Oh, there we go. Boom. Dude, this should be when someone's bashing a block on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sorry if that was too quiet. You couldn't hear it. But basically, it started off really slow, and then it got faster and faster and faster. But like it just increased the tension. Absolutely love this, and you got tons of other ones here for like Fornost and what happens if you gain a level and different battles and etc. You got ones that are even like the horn for when the sortie's coming out in Moors. But yeah, I like it would be difficult to have a sound effect for every single thing that happens in MUME, but even if you're just going into areas like Moria, like Fornost, like Bree, and you're hearing these or Orc Caves, and you're hearing this kind of ambiance, man, that would be so great. I'm a huge fan of this. How long did this take you to build?
I don't remember. That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But the MUME team one took like some days. The other ones are much quicker.
Okay. Like
the idea, yeah, that was quite fast too. The idea was that when you move to some region, then the new music plays and. So if you are in Bree, it's different music than in Fornost and so on.
Would it be possible? Oh, go ahead.
I haven't written the music for every city or town. Okay. The project kind of halted. I was doing other stuff.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's so impressive.
So nice.
Jahar is saying he has a mapper branch with a rudimentary sound support. It'd be really cool to see if we could tie, even just like as a beta test, like just tie in maybe like 2 or 3 sound effects that happen all the time, and then a theme for an area, and just give it a shot. See what the effect is like.
That's what I was thinking. I've been thinking about this too. I didn't know Jahara had coded some on it, but I've been thinking like just a simple way with just when you're in the puke towns, like the ones that are totally safe, like you're in Rivendell or you're in Lorien. Maybe Lorien's a little weird because it's so big. But when you're in Grey Havens, like Grey Havens, Tower Hills, Blue Mountains, like I feel like that would be nice, safe, very well defined, and a good place to start. I don't know.
And you can turn it off whenever you want. It's not a big deal. But like, there's something about it which I just like. When you have that music going, you have this like retro vibe, and you're just feeling. I don't know. I feel. Very
love
immersed.
it, man. I think it's fantastic. I think it's so impressive. And another idea I had was maybe you guys could do a soundtrack for the Gandalf quest.
Ooh.
Yeah, why not?
That would definitely, man, I would love to see the numbers on like the before versus after newbie retention on that. Oh my God.
Yeah, and when that ferocious warg shows up,
and
like
you die. Yeah, dude, this. Go ahead.
Orlanth, I mean, you're clearly such a creative guy. Do you do art, or do you do much? Like, do you contribute to other games or other projects, or do you do a lot of art yourself, or it's all just MUME that's been kind of your creative outlet?
It's all MUME. Of course I play piano and like that, but I haven't contributed to any other games.
Wow. Well, it's awesome, man. It's really cool.
So do you have like a SoundCloud or like an iTunes store where people can buy or download your music?
I do have SoundCloud, but there is only one piece of music. These are not there. So it's some improvised weird stuff I have there.
Mm-hmm. Actually, so Lamia in game is saying that he'd be interested in doing a collaboration with you for some soundtracks or sound effects and ambiance. Sounds like he's pretty interested in that.
Cool. Yeah, do you feel comfortable sharing these, Orlanth? Like, that was kind of your question, Nick, right? Like, how would other folks get these? Are you comfortable sharing them, or what do you feel comfortable with?
You could totally make a compilation and sell these. Like, I think it would be kind of cool. You could probably do that if you wanted to. Like, just release it on iTunes.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I mainly was doing the music for MUME, but
that's awesome, man. Total MUME artistry. I love it.
Exactly. Hey, we got a podcast now. We need a soundtrack too. We sound over here.
So Orlanth, okay, so what in game do you think is really, really well done? Like, clearly you, both in your building and your music, you bring a high level of like artistry to it. What's either now or like maybe back when you were new and when you were a newbie and you were learning the game, what magic moments, like what do you think is really well crafted or really well done, or what was really enchanting for you? Like really sort of just like a magic thing that made you say, this game is awesome, this game is special, I want to get more involved here. Like what are your favorite moments?
I don't know. I got hooked to the leveling process. So XP and getting levels and the normal game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Moria was kind of scary place in the beginning. I didn't even think about going there. I like Moria. It's nice, dangerous place.
Yeah, it's weird how when you get more experience in the game, like you gravitate towards like the most dangerous areas. Like earlier on in your career, you're like, I want to stay around Gria Havens and Bree and everything, and then like a couple years down the road, you're just like, I just want to stay in Moria all day.
Yeah, and even when I'm leveling a BN, I will even camp rent in Old Forest Road Zone.
Yeah.
Just for that, just to feel like I'm living on the edge, And then sometimes you log in and there's that like emaciated warg pack right in the room, and you're just like, you don't even have armor spell up. You just ride off Just straight off to the races.
See,
just straight off.
That's what we need. That's what we need the
Adrenaline.
sound of. That's what we need the sound effects for that moment. Just like boom, boom, and dead.
Yeah, we need the emaciated warg pack soundtrack. Yeah. Just gnashing, howling. Yeah.
You have a heart
So
attack.
Moria, what else, man? Are there? Was it like the? Because when I started, I was just the two things that astonished me most was I started in Harland and I was amazed at how big and how dynamic it was. You know, with elves walking around, and I was immediately enchanted by the scope of Harlan. And the second was the room descriptions, like just so much good writing. I was like, who are these lunatics who have made this game and who have put so much effort into it in this really, really high quality bar? So that was true. But what other magic moments captured you, man?
Oh, it's so long time ago. I don't know. My first character was some man warrior. I made it to like level 5 and it got deleted. I played in Fornost area. Then I made a dwarf in Blue Mountains, and I kind of liked that area. Blue Mountains and Grey Havens. It was nice for a while. I can't say which areas.
Yeah.
Tarapat is a quite nice place
Totally.
too. Sewers and the city itself.
Yeah.
Lots
Did
of
you
hidden
play other
ex-
muds? Had you played other muds before MUME or other? Were you into other games or?
Not any other mud.
It's interesting how common that is. Like our BN, God, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. The Woland said the same thing. Never any other mud experience. I think tons of the guests we've had on, like, yeah, never played any other mud, just MUME, that's it, and it just got hooked.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that all of us here except for Nick?
Certainly me, yeah.
Same.
This was literally I went to mud. I was like, oh, what are muds? And I went to Mud Connector, and I just picked MUME first, and now here I am, 25 years later.
Amen. Amen.
Did you ever PK much, Orlanth, or you stuck more on the PvE side?
I PK sometimes. It was, I think, I did it more in 2003 and 4 in the past. Now it's more occasional. If someone attacks, or I might PK sometimes if I find some. If I'm playing alone, solo, and find some other solo player, then I may take the fight. It's because it's fun.
Take the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got a question for you, Orlanth, here, because up to this point we've just been asking you the whole time, like, hey, so how could you make MUME better, and what would you do with this and this? What? All right, we haven't asked this question on the podcast yet. What do you think we could do to make the podcast better for MUME?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know. The podcast is great. I think
Perfect. Yeah, you're right. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I like the podcasting. What you guys are doing here. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Anytime.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you think that like we could do to tie it more in the game and help the game grow a bit better?
Well, I don't know. You are already in YouTube, and what else?
Talk less about brigades or something. I don't know.
Even some player has found MUME
Do the podcast.
from the podcast. Isn't that correct?
All right. Well, if
I don't know.
if you think of something later on, I know we put you on the spot there, but it just came to my mind, and maybe we should ask for some feedback on ourselves here. So yeah, if anything comes to mind, you're like, you know what, you should totally interview this person or stop doing these interviews or whatever. You should hit us up with that. Um,
Ma- I think Manwe would be great to have on podcast if
absolutely.
that's possible. Yeah,
We're looking to
that,
line that
I
up
would
here.
love to hear that.
Looking to line that up here.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Exactly. We should also get the Tolkien estate on here. That would be great as well. See what see what happens. What are your thoughts on the the attempts everyone is making right now to make AI work with the game? Have you experimented with that at all, or looked into that? Like, because everyone's trying to, whether that's use ChatGPT to get some descriptions out here, or use the AI art generators. What are your thoughts on all of that? How does that fit into MUME?
I downloaded the package for Madlet and tested it a little bit. I think it's a bit early to say, but I like the effort, and it's certainly possible to make more graphical game with this AI. I think you can show the room with the AI kind of generated image, and also you could add mobs, so images of the mobs in the room.
Ooh, that's an idea. Yeah, that's a very
So,
interesting idea. Yeah, I've been using the AI generator a little bit as well for the last couple thumbnails for the videos. I'm trying to like make people's characters look like their AI, or I'm generating characters.
It looks great, dude. Yeah,
That's
it
supposed to
looks
look
great.
like that.
great.
So Orlanth, what character would you say you associate with? I don't know what Orlanth looks like. So do you have like a dwarf or an orc that you that you play that you associate with?
it's like a god of thunder.
God of Thunder. Okay, I'll just put Thor on there and have Orlanth over.
Yeah.
Actually, that makes perfect sense. From Finland, you got the whole Norse thing going on. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. That sounds good. Well, we're getting to that point here where we're gonna have to be wrapping up. I know that it's pretty late for you, but before we go, do you have any hot takes for us? A hot take being just something that you think is something that might be unpopular opinion in MUME, or just something you want to get off your chest about the game. Got any hot takes for us?
Yes, I was thinking about that. I I have one thought or idea. Not sure how popular it is, but I think about the metal armors, the fine
Okay.
metal. The fine metal armor is the most common, and I think it's too common. So I would maybe think if we can decrease the fine metal armor. I'm not sure if it's possible, but I think it's just too easy to get. It's especially on YT side.
It is ridiculously easy to get. It's a guarantee, basically. You make 20 gold
Yeah,
and you got a medal set, pretty much.
you make the cash and go to the shop and buy the set.
Yeah, which is, it's not the best armor in the game. Obviously, Shining's better, but it is the second best armor in the game. And the fact that you can buy that for that little effort is probably an issue for sure. Awesome. So looking for more equipment diversification and make it harder to get fine metals. Are you suggesting we
Yeah.
make more types of armor, or just make fine metals harder to get?
Uh, I think if the fine metal would be harder to get, you would be forced to use the other, like sturdy metal, and the weaker metal armors.
So maybe make like fine metal like just way more expensive or not in shops, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's my hot take.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Sounds like that could totally happen. And Mike or Nick, you got any hot takes for us today?
You go, Nick. You go.
Okay. I think that when I had one, but I also just had a thought because we were talking about armor, and I one day I hope to see purple armor, purple metal, since we have green and black and
Going up purple lightsaber.
Oh, you get spicy. Nick is getting spicy.
well, yeah. I mean that would be one. I was also kind of thinking like I think that trolls, rather than fleeing into the sun and insta dying, I think that if trolls flee into the sun, it should definitely be a heavy hit point reduction, right? Something like insane. It's sort of like insane fall damage or something like I don't know. It's half your hit points or something like that. But I don't think that trolls should be able to be fled into the sun and sun die. And yes, I know you can go berserk or change Wimpy Zero, but yeah, I don't know. That's something I've thought for a while. So that was just off the top of my head.
I don't know. I like the purple armor one, dude. That to me, just,
I kind of like the
it
purple
speaks to
armor
me
one,
actually. Awesome, Mike. What you got?
So I've the only playing I've been doing recently is just leveling up lobies and testing some stuff I'm working on for Mapper. And so an interesting, and I'd like to get your guys' feedback on this. One thing I'm experiencing is I create a character, I leveled up, like level 6, level 7, something like that. I like the next day I can hardly remember the character. Like I can't remember like which character was which or what name, and I just don't have much investment in it. Like I just don't. I'm like, wait, what was that? Who was that guy? And so even with me, I mean, I've got like 40 accounts in my 40 characters in my account.
It's a Freudian slip there.
Yeah, So I've got, but I just like. I'm a very experienced MUME player, but I don't have a ton of investment in my newbie. So I was going back and I was thinking, what is it? And not even just MUME, right? Maybe World of Warcraft, maybe Diablo, maybe any other game, console game. What is it that makes you feel invested and want to come back? And I've been thinking about this a lot. So one thing that World of Warcraft does well, I think, is, and maybe there's some, I've not played, WoW in like decades, but like if I recall, as you level up in World of Warcraft, certain like your race or your class, there's a certain quest for your race or your class where you get like a really good weapon. Like when you're like once you're level 10, you do a certain quest and you get like a really good weapon that's for your race and your class, something like that. And I remember in mini games, or you get like an artifact, or so something that you think is an artifact, like something that's like really cool or really valuable to you and feels special. It's like in Diablo, you get something, you're like, ooh, this is rare. Ooh, right? And I don't know, it kind of makes it, because you think of it as being special. It's kind of like, this is, I got to keep going. I'm invested here. So. Yeah. I was thinking, so I don't know, does that register with you guys at all? I'm trying to do an inventory of what makes me come back a second session to certain games.
No, absolutely. Have you ever played Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
It has like that's what that's reminding me a lot of, where you've got like, those specialty, like, okay, you're going down the mage route now or whatever, and okay, you get the sort of lightning kind of a thing,
right? Exactly.
And you're like, oh, I got to get more down this path. Yeah, no, I like it.
So go ahead.
Are you talking about? I was gonna say, clarify. So you're talking about basically like sort of crafting specific weapons, or you're talking about? So I mean, for example, you could have crafting, or some games also have sort of level restricted weapons and equipment. So you have to be a level, 50, not in MUME terms, I guess maybe a level 26 mage. In order to use this magical scepter or something.
Yeah, but I'm actually even thinking a bit like like lower level, like something that happens like at level 7 or level 10 that just makes it. Because the reason I'm motivated this is right now, man. I'm playing a dwarf. The newbie kit, it gives you a hand axe, and there's no better axe than that for sale in Tower Hills. So you're literally just walking around with like just a piece of shit axe. And so you don't, I don't know. I just feel like if there was something in the game, a quest where it's like I could earn a MDA or something, or even just a battle axe, or maybe a partially chanted battle axe, something like that, it would just feel like, like something special has happened, and I'm going down a special branch, a special fork of gaming, and I got to keep going. I don't know. So,
yeah, I think definitely it would be cool if they had something for a battle axe. I don't know if you could get them to do an MDA. That would be really cool. But they could probably do something like a battle axe quest.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was gonna say one issue with the way the MUME equipment system is set up is we hide all the stats behind a wall of not being able to see the stats, which is good in the sense that it's, you know, it has more gameplay because you got to identify things and strategize and everything. But the problem is yes, what it does is it leads to a lack of sense of progression with regards to equipment for newbies. Because newbies, like, how many times have you seen a newbie walking around with like a backsword and they're like, I don't know, is this better? Is this worse? I don't know. Like, they don't know is it better or not, you know, because they can't see the stats. Or like with armor. So giving a clearer indication of like, oh no, you are actually at the next step of equipment now. You are getting better with equipment would probably increase that investment from the player, as opposed to like, I don't know, I'm wearing a leather jerkin. Is that good or bad? I have no clue.
Well, they do have the consider command, which I think a lot of people forget about. But
but dude, there's
not consider compare.
But there's no education or training. And there's no like hint. Like maybe that could be a quest. Maybe that should be a quest. Yeah. But long story short, my hot take is, I think that a good way to help new players feel invested in a character, and by extension in MUME, is to give them an opportunity for something that feels special to happen relatively early on. And it's like, ooh, I gotta log back in to take advantage of that cool thing that happened, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know.
They could also have mobs that dispense information about like this, you know, this is the type of, weapon or sword that a character, you know, maybe something that looks at what, if the character has, say, cleaving weapons practiced, and then that mob might say, you know, I've heard tell that warriors of your skill like to use battle axes or I don't know. So that might be something too. You could have some information dispensing mob that kind of, you know, like the guilds. I mean, I know you can ask them help on a skill and it'll tell you what stats are useful for that skill, but you might also have them also tell you maybe that the best kind of weapons for this skill are X.
Yeah, but so one other thing is, another hot take is, there's so much text to read. Like the Tower Hills quests are all very verbose quests. You got to read a lot. Like you're reading your ass off when you're a new player in Tower Hills. So yeah, but I guess a distinction on that, Nick, is when it's just information and you're learning the game system, it maybe doesn't, like, to me, part of it is like, if it's a special piece of equipment, you feel like you want to come back to take advantage of that, right? You're just like, oh, I got to go. True, I already made some investment on that guy. I want to go back to him and keep going because he's on some special path kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or,
definitely.
I just remember back in the day, like literally in 1998 when I was a noob, somebody gave me a ruby and that just felt like so insane. I was just like, oh, I was just like type in exam
power of the gods.
Yeah, I did. I'm serious. Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah.
I don't know.
I remember getting my first ruby, my first PBS, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, and then, you know, and then after you have played for a while, you're like, oh yeah, I can just go buy a ruby. But, you know, it feels so special the first time you get that and you're like, fuck this lantern.
Yep. Yep.
And then you lose it to Orlandh, but it's
you
fine.
lose it.
It's fine. It's fine. My hot take is definitely small compared to those. This is a hot take because I think this is genuinely be unpopular. But you guys remember like 10 years ago, you would log on and you would have a fan following you around. Do you guys remember that?
I loved those.
Those
that
things
was like
were so much fun. Okay,
Wasn't that an April? That was an April Fool's thing, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just remember I logged on and I had a fan and
oh,
I
it
thought
was
it was
so
the
cool.
coolest thing ever. I understand that they're spammy and I understand that they are stupid and not part of Lord of the Rings, but I loved the fact that I logged on and I was immediately interacting with the world. Like they were like MUME was talking to me, like you're the best, you know, and they followed you around.
It was
and whatever.
so cute. I loved that thing.
I'm not saying that that's necessarily a good idea. Exactly. This fan, someone's got. All right, the fan whispers to you. Let's go kill something. The fan whispers sweet words of love to you. I'm not saying it's the best idea. I'm just saying it put a smile on my face, and this was back when I was still a newbie, and it made me want to play more. So maybe we should do something like that again.
Definitely, I loved the fan. I think I'm not sure. I think that was an April Fool's thing. I can't remember, but I loved them. They were. It was a really cute idea. And, yeah.
Rogan says the fan has always been part of the game. It just requires a V+ to activate it. The fan whispers to you, "It's the best idea." I don't know. Yeah, the Jazz Reed is saying in chat, that's one of the reasons I like having Clint follow me around. It's fun. I don't know what to tell you. It's fun. So anyway, that's my hot take. That's my hot take.
You could actually have something like that where it's based on either war points. So that, I don't know, maybe people that are play primarily for PK might also be particularly annoyed by the fan. I don't know, but you could have something like based on war points, you get a fan, or based on. I mean, if you had some system for, you were talking about earlier for recognizing rangers, you could have something like that, little things like that where people kind of earn the right to have a fan follow them around for a period of time, and they have to keep doing whatever they're doing in order to get, because I really did like the fan. Like you're reminding me of it, and that was one of the more sort of favorite Easter eggs I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a good time. Anyway, well that'll wrap it up for us, I guess. MUME Talk 26, Orlanth. Thank you so much for hopping on the show with us.
Thank you, Orlanth.
I know
Thank you.
I know it's late for you. I hope you had fun. We'd love to, find a way of publishing some of that music, because that music, man, if anyone who joined late on the podcast, go back and rewatch at least a part with Orlanth's music, because it is fantastic. And yeah, if you'd be interested, or we can find a way of posting some of that music so the rest of the MUME community can hear some of it, I'm sure they would really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and for nice